Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Godzilla Kong, the New Empire, is doing pretty good, to be fair. It's not doing too bad at all. At the box office, the Rotten Tomatoes score has been revealed. It had a very, very good cinema score. Seems people generally really enjoy the film. I watched it, I reviewed it. I gave both a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review. I'll leave the non-spoiler one above, I guess. So we're here to talk about the box office and the general feedback and such. And then obviously we'll get the proper numbers in tomorrow, but these are really good projections and they tend to be pretty accurate, all things considered. So let's take a look at the divide between critics and audiences, because that is ever present, it always seems. So we've got 55% on Rotten Tomatoes for the critic score. I will say, you know, it doesn't deserve that. I think it is what it is and caters to its audience. Yeah, 55%. I'm not surprised that it got that. Top critics will be even lower, 32%. Again, I'm not surprised at all that it had such a low critic score. We'll take a look at some of them in a minute. You know, it is what it is. Verified audience is 93 and all audience is 92. So I guess for those that are actually confirmed that they've watched it, it is ever so slightly higher. But let's take a look at some of the box office first. So here it's basically looking like it will hit about $175 plus million internationally, which is pretty good. It's not absolutely incredible, and it's important to keep that in mind because, of course, when you're looking at this film, it obviously had quite a high budget, you know, but there isn't really anything that's going to come out to dethrone this moving forwards. There's just nothing coming out, not for a while anyway. The week coming up, we've got Monkey Man, the Dev Patel sort of Indian John Wick film, which looks great, by the way. And there is one other film as well, off the top of my head, I actually have just forgotten. But there's not really anything that's going to dethrone this moving forwards. There's just not. So, it's the First Omen. There you go. Nothing is coming out. Not for a while anyway. So this has got, at the very least, a good, I don't know, another week and a half, 2 weeks. I don't think anything comes out now towards the end or like mid-April, something like that. So this will do reasonably well moving forwards, quite frankly. So let's take a look, right? So this is from Saturday, but they do projections and they're pretty good. So Godzilla the New Empire continues to show gusto at the international box office, coming in with an added $31.2 million on Friday for a 3-day running cum of $47.9 million in 62 markets. Now, it does say not included in that total is the China Saturday, which added an estimated $18 million. Now, that's important to highlight. They wouldn't really get much from the Chinese box office. Like, they get very little. China keeps about 70-odd% of that, maybe even more. They don't get much. So it's kind of negligible. And I'm really glad that Deadline doesn't actually include that moving forwards. They just sort of stopped doing that, which makes a lot of sense. It's good. Now, it says Hollywood's tepid market portends, you know, $40 plus million opening sessions there. Anyway, domestic, so America, they loved it, right? It's looking like it's going to hit over $175 million, which is good. That is genuinely good for what this is. It's not incredible, but it's good. It's a good start. It'll move things forward quite nicely. And it puts it into, say, you know, the next week moving forwards should start to, I don't know, it'll get close to breaking even before it's done. And I think probably err into some level of profit. The budget is pretty big for this, though. It's to be somewhere in the region of $200 million. So as noted yesterday, China opened on Friday to $13.4 million for Godzilla Kong. They dominate the market with 80% share on 35,698 screens. That's crazy. This puts the opening day there on par with Jurassic World Dominion, 51% ahead of Godzilla, and more than double the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So Warner Brothers Legendary's Dune Part 2, you know, it's done better than that as well. So it's doing really well. It's looking like they think it'll hit over $100 million just in China alone, which is crazy. Again, they won't get much of that money, maybe about $30-odd million, but that's still crazy. So UK did $2.4 million with only 1,000 screens. We don't have a lot, actually, to be fair. In the UK, there's not like a ton of screens here, and a lot keep closing as well. But it is number 1. It's number 1 in the UK, ahead of Kung Fu Panda 4. Premium formats did really, really well. So IMAX was 11% of the total box office. So that did great. Really, really good. India did really, really well. $1.9 million. Pretty good to 2.8 thousand screens. So pretty decent. Number 1 there. And then other markets, you've got Mexico, $7.2 million. Spain, $2.2 million. Australia 1.9, India 1.9, like I said. It's doing really well. It is the number 1 at the box office. So it's done really, really well. Australia, not that good, actually, surprisingly. Only in, or at least on its previews, 782,000. Not absolutely incredible. But this, this will be pretty good. $175+ million on this is pretty damn decent. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at some of these critics' reviews, because these are always quite comical. And, we'll see if we agree with any of it. So if there are to be any more MonsterVerse movies, something I don't favour, turn them over to Takashi Yamazaki. He knows how to do it right. This is what I was thinking may have happened with this movie, was that Godzilla -1 may sort of overshadow it every, a little bit here and there. It does seem like some of the critics are taking that approach. But a lot of people just didn't like it. It says this film was a major issue with scale. These monsters are supposed to be hundreds of stories tall, but in many of the scenes it's difficult to determine how big they really are. I will agree with that. This is the issue with people wanting a movie which is focused on the Titans, is that you do lose the sense of scale when you don't have the point of view character being teeny tiny. That's just how it is. That just tends to be the case. But I think this, I'm not going to cover any more. There's not really any point covering any more reviews. The positive ones are there. Titan Nirvana, serviceable continuation, crowd pleaser, good enough for monster lovers, like all this kind of stuff. People liked it. It's definitely mixed when it comes to the critics. But what you need to know as a fan of the MonsterVerse is that the audience liked it. $175+ million opening is pretty good. It's not incredible, and it is important to keep that into perspective. If it had like a $200 million budget, I don't know if it did. It looks like it probably did. But if it did have that, you're still looking at $400+ million to break even. It's a lot of money that it needs to break even. But I do think, let me have a look, because I distinctly remember some of this. Maybe the budget was smaller. $135 million. Right, okay. I don't understand how that. $135 million. Hitting $175 million is very good. Goodness me. How on earth did it have that? That does not make sense. That's a very, very tiny budget. That's probably after some of the tax credits. All right, well, this will go into profit very, very soon. So this will be a profitable film. $135 million. That's incredible. That is one of the lowest... That is one of the cheapest MonsterVerse. That is the cheapest MonsterVerse films. Wow. Anyway, there you go. I could have sworn it was about $200 million, but it probably was before tax credits, after the tax rebates and credits or whatever it is that you want to, the tax loopholes that these companies go through. Yeah, 135 million I can believe. Not 135 before tax though, before the tax issues. That would probably be about the $200 million. Anyway, there you go. I sort of ramble a little bit. 175 million is better. Because now, realistically, it does only need to get to about 270 odd million to start breaking even on production budget. Did have a big marketing budget though. One would imagine at the very least $50 odd million. So it's going to need another $100 million to earn that back. But this is good. This is actually surprisingly good. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Cheers, guys. Take care. Bye-bye now.